As technology and the digital economy has matured, so has the sophistication of cyber attacks, and that's also the influence on their businesses. So it's no longer just an issue of relating to technology and cybersecurity to a technology, but it's also about how is it used to shape the perception of that company. Traditionally, advertising aimed to influence consumer opinions favorably. However, narrative attacks now you exploit this by spreading disinformation and misinformation using technologies like deepfakes, botnets, sock puppet forms, and leading to an increase in reputational hacking. It's really important for companies and advertising platforms to identify and recognize these type of attacks as quickly as possible before they spread uncontrollably. The speed at which we can get this type of news threads throughout the world can be extremely damaging in a short period of time. And if you don't identify it quickly and mitigate it, it's going to be disastrous. So given the multitude of information channels and social media platforms, monitoring without AI is just impractical. The resources required to monitor all mentions of a company would be enormous. AI automation is essential for covering all potential outlets of narrative attacks, and it makes it cost effective. So just beyond identification, it's really important for companies to understand the context and the origin of these narratives. AI platforms like Blackbird AI and their Compass platform not only detect potential narrative threats, but also prioritize and summarize the context, the intent. So it makes it easier for security teams and businesses to decide on the appropriate response. I think the advertising industry has a really large responsibility in this narrative attack vector. They actually have expanded its reach. You know, if we look at misinformation, which is just a deliberate false narrative aimed at damaging a company's reputation, you know, and or disinformation, which you contextualize facts and then put it in an unfavorable spin on it. If you use those directly or indirectly together, these are the tactics that, you know, if we look at influence in the consumer, now this narrative attack is using it to harm a company. So before the rise of social media and online influence, brand reputation fell under mainly the communications department or the marketing department. Now with metadata, data analysis programs, they've helped augment and reshape how advertising and marketing campaigns are run and how they can truly target and influence on a much higher level and much more effective level. So advancements in data analysis enable advertisers to precisely target specific user groups, making campaigns more effective and increase brand awareness. So given these advancements, the advertising industry has a responsibility to protect the clients against the same techniques used in advertising that are now being used against the companies to hurt their brand. So a robust platform should not only monitor a wide array of channels, but tracking discussions around a brand product should be also detect negative influence techniques that are used in advertising and then to prevent potential harm to a company. Throughout history, and George Washington was always summarized as saying, you know, the best defense is a good offense. So with any good program process, the earlier you catch a problem correct, the easier and more effective the solution will be. So staying ahead of the attack can reduce or eliminate the damage that narrative may inflict. So having a strategically placed campaign that counters the false narrative being sent out against your company can be very effective at nullifying the narrative. If it's done correctly, you could actually boost your reputation by being out in front of it and being proactive and not reactive. So there's a couple things that you really need to know. As a proactive campaign can anticipate negative influence and debunk false narratives. To implement that, you really need these three things. You need to identify the narrative attack, determine the source, and then understand the context in which it's being produced. And then armed with this information, a well-planned response can effectively protect the brand's reputation.